You say that on Sundays, Mr. Gigaba and I would regularly have lunch in Santon. Is that correct?
Just switch on your mic, please, and then repeat the answer.
You say at paragraph 37, on Sundays, Mr. Gigaba and I would regularly have lunch in Santon. Is that right?
It's a 37 point what?
37.
The previous page.
Sorry, page 1007.
At the bottom.
Oh, okay.
At the bottom.
Okay.
So paragraph 37 is at the bottom. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So on Sundays, Mr. Gigaba and I would regularly have lunch in Santon. While driving to return home, I would overhear Mr. Gigaba's telephone discussions with Miss Mnyeni. He would sometimes share the detail of these discussions with me, and that would include, if you go over the page, what are the sorts of things that he would tell you after holding these discussions with Miss Mnyeni?
It's what I already mentioned before.
Sorry?
It's what I already mentioned before.
Okay. And that's about following instructions, etc.
Yes.
Was there a time where he said to you that he didn't understand why she had been appointed as the chair of SAA because he didn't believe she was competent?
He said that to me, not to her.
Yes. And did he say to you that she would feed information to the former president?
Can you please ask the question again?
Did he say to you that Mr. Mnyeni would feed information to the former president without telling him about it?
Malusi felt like that.
He felt that?
Yes.
And then paragraph 37.3, and these are things I think that you've already touched on. When Mr. Gigaba did not want to follow the instructions of Mr. A.J. Gupta or Ms. Mnyeni, one or other would phone the former president to complain about him. Is that right?
Yes.
Ms. Mnyeni would then pass on instructions from President Zuma to Mr. Gigaba, which would upset him. Mr. Gigaba believed that he should have a direct line of communication to the former president and not receive instructions via Ms. Mnyeni because he didn't report to her. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then at 38, can you deal with that, please?
What do you want me to do?
What did Ms.
38?
Mnyeni tell Mr. Gigaba?
He said if he does not understand, he will be taken back to Home Affairs.
And was there a time when Mr. Gigaba did return to the Department of Home Affairs?
Yes.
You said earlier on that Mr. Ajay Gupta told Mr. Gigaba
Yes.
that
The same thing that you said.
he would be returned to Home Affairs.
Yes.
So now I see that you are saying that Ms. Mnyeni also
They
said
both
the
said
same
it.
thing.
Yes.
Are you sure that both of them said the same
Yes,
thing?
I'm sure.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Maybeck.
Yes, thank you. Then you have a heading, Mr. Gigaba's return to the Department of Home Affairs, and paragraph 39. On 26 May, Mr. Gigaba was transferred back to the Department of Home Affairs as Minister. I take it that that wasn't a date that you could personally recall, but you were assisted with that date. Is that correct?
I didn't assist with the date. I think the commission put the date. But
Yeah.
I said Malusi was taken back. I remember when he was taken back.
Because that date accords with the date in the schedule, in paragraph 6, all the different positions that he held.
Remember, all those dates that are there, they were not put by me, they were put
Yes.
by the commission.
Well, that's actually, Ms. Gigaba, what I'm saying here is that you didn't remember this date, you were assisted with the date.
Yes.
Correct. But you do remember him being transferred back to the Department of Home Affairs.
Yes, I do.
But I'm not sure that's the right language, perhaps, but he moved.
Yes, he moved back.
All right. Did Mr. Gigaba think that he would be moved back?
No,
Why?
because we have a very close relationship with the president.
And what was Mr. Gigaba's reaction to being returned, or to moving back, as you put it, to the Department of Home Affairs? How did he feel about it?
He was shocked, and also I think he was hurt.
Did he tell you what had happened?
In terms of,
Did he tell you what the president told him?
he said he told him that you will be taken back to, you need to go back to Home Affairs.
And did he tell you why the president had said that he was going to be moved back?
He said you need to tighten the borders at the Home Affairs.
And what did Mr. Gigaba think of that reason, or think of that? Do you know what his reaction was to being told that he needed to go back to Home Affairs in order to strengthen border controls?
He thought he was taken back because he was already threatened that he will be taken back. So he thought it was those reasons, but the president didn't say those reasons.
Yes, okay. Mr. Maibek.
Thank you. You then go on to deal with the Gupta's application for South African citizenship. What did Mr. Gigaba tell you about this?
I'm not comfortable to talk about this part because I never work at the department. So what I will say is just a little bit of highlights out of sense. So I'm not comfortable with it.
Sorry, for some reason I'm not hearing you clearly. What did you say?
I'm saying I'm not comfortable to talk about the application citizenship of the Guptas because I've never worked for the department.
Yes. But what did Mr. Gigaba tell you?
So maybe we'll ask something, then you will respond to that. Because most of everything I've said here is the questions that I was asked on the consultation. Then I was responding to what I know,
All right.
based off all the questions that raised.
So is this a part of your affidavit that you want to correct?
Yeah, because I don't want to say certain things because there is a year here, and I don't want to say those years because I don't want to be accountable for a certain year because most of the information that is put there is something that the commission summarized, maybe it's their own investigation, and I don't want to be part of it.
Okay, well, when it says at 42 that during Mr. Gigaba's term of office as Minister of the Department of Home Affairs, he informed me that he was assisting some of the Gupta family members to obtain citizenship in South Africa.
Chairperson, through you, the witness is making it very clear that she does not intend to deal with the contents of paragraph 42, 43, and 44. She says she does not intend to do so because, one, the information there was provided to her by the commission. Secondly, because she does not have personal knowledge of these facts. Now, referring her to this information for her to confirm does not take cognizance of the fact that she's saying, I'm not comfortable, that information is not within my personal knowledge.
No, the witness is not being asked to say anything she doesn't know. She is being asked whether that sentence is true or not, and therefore she is able to say, no, it's not true, or it has been put in a way that I'm not comfortable with, or anything like that.
Is that what I meant?
Yeah. Mr. Maibek.
Chair, I apologize.
Yeah.
Once again, the witness is saying, I do not know this information.
Yes,
It was put by the commission.
No. If the witness has deposed to an affidavit, And she then says there's something in the affidavit that she is unhappy about. The evidence leader is entitled to say, is it the first sentence that you are unhappy about? Is there anything untrue about it? He's entitled to ask that, and the witness is quite entitled to say, yes, it's not true, or yes, it is true.
Chairperson, my objection was merely because the witness has specifically said, this information was put here by the Commission and therefore I do not have knowledge of it.
Well, I
And
think
to
Mr.
confirm
Mybeck
it-
wants to establish which part of this paragraph the witness says was put by the Commission, because that's a serious allegation.
That's the chair, please.
Yeah, that's
So
a serious
is there-
allegation. So it's important that if there is something that she never told the Commission, which has been put here, let's have clarity. If she says, as I believe she did with regard to some earlier paragraph, where she says, the substance might be fine, but the way it has been put is not right, it's important that we know exactly what it is. So, Ms. Gigaba, when Mr. Mybeck asks questions about this paragraph, feel free to say what you wish to say. If you want to say, this is not true, or it has not been put in the right way, feel free to say so. If you say it is true, but the way it is put or whatever, feel free. But if you say that the investigators or members of the legal team of the Commission have put information in your affidavit without having been told that by you, it's important that we know.
Okay. So what I said to him, I'm not comfortable to answer this part because there's a year that is mentioned which I don't talk about years because I never kept the years recording everything what I was doing. And also even the summary at the end.
You can take it, Ms. Gigaba, you can take it that if you have a problem about a year or a date, as far as I'm concerned, that's not going to be a big deal, you know. But it's more about whether the substance doesn't reflect what you told whoever prepared the affidavit.
Okay, because what makes me comfortable is I said something because part of the paragraph, there's something that I said. But now the way it's summarized,
Yes.
it has so much of the information that's got nothing to do with me, especially 44. It's something that was collectively said by the Commission. And it makes it difficult for me to be held accountable for the whole paragraph and to select certain parts. So I wish they have put my words on it because I can stand by that.
I think I understand completely what you are saying. Mr.
Yes,
Mybeck?
Well, perhaps we could ask you, in your own words, what happened in relation to the Gupta's application for South African citizenship that you know, that you learned from Mr. Gigaba?
In other words, even if you didn't look at this affidavit, at these paragraphs, in terms of what he told you, if you were to just relate that.
I only remember a little part of it that he said to you.
Yeah.
He was assisting them. But I just want to distance myself from the publicly naturalization because I don't want to go in terms of what happens in the department because I've never worked for the department. So I don't want to use a certain word. And then when the department comes back, they say, no, we never done that because I've never worked for the Department of Home Affairs.
Yeah.
And here, it's already, the answer is broad. This whole information, it's not my words.
So if I understand you correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you have a particular concern with paragraph 44, because there it says it's publicly known that Mr. Gigaba, during his term as the Minister of the Department of Home Affairs, had approved the early naturalization of members of the Gupta family. That you say...
It's you, the Commission, put that, not me.
So you say that...
Because I never done any investigation about what public says about him. Everything that I've given here is what I heard from him. It's what I've seen, but I didn't go do an investigation when happened when and how the public views him.
Okay.
And then what Malusi was challenging on his affidavit.
But if you take out that and we take out the date in 2015, do you have any particular concerns in relation to paragraph 42 and 43? Because it refers...
Yes, 43.
What I'm interested in is your own personal experience.
Or what he told you.
Yeah, but you guys, you're making my life so difficult because I so wish you didn't mix my words because now I have to select what is my words out of the whole paragraph because all this, it's what you know of him, is the investigation that you've done, it's what the public think of him, and then now I have to find myself in between, and that's the reason I said I don't want to come to the commission before everything is corrected, because now I have to pick pieces and pieces of what I said.
Would you be happy to, through your legal representatives, put in an affidavit?
Yes.
How you wanted it to be put.
That's what we proposed in the beginning.
Yes. So you can still deal with it, but you would like to put it
in my own words, so that I can say what I've seen and what I know. Okay. Because I don't want to agree with the statement that's got nothing to do with me.
Okay. Well, Mr. Maybeck, I don't know what you think, but it may well be that when we see that affidavit, it may well be that whatever you might wish to pursue, you might do that after looking at that.
Yes, I think we're happy to move on that basis.
Yeah.
Chairperson. So this is one of those areas that, like with the India trip, you need to recraft the passage. Is that right?
That's the thing that I didn't want to do, and I don't want you to force me to do it, because when you force me to do it now, I have to look and try to select.
All right.
And I didn't want to do that. I preferred, that's what I proposed to my lawyers and to the commission, I preferred to stick to my words so that I can give the information what I know. Because now to select the bits and pieces, I have to read in between, because somewhere on 43, I know what I've said.
Yeah.
But now it's mixed with the whole overall of the investigation of the commission. Don't
worry, that's fine. Because you want to put it in your own words.
Yes.
That's acceptable. You do that in a supplementary affidavit.
Okay.
And then once the commission has got that, we can look at that and take it from there.
Okay. All right. So thank you,
Chairperson, if I may.
Yes.
I do need to indicate that my original concern was that as Ms. Gigaba is being led on aspects of this affidavit. Mm-hmm. At a later stage, she then finishes an affidavit to try and explain this I did not say, this I did not say. The reason why this has been a concern is purely because at some point or the other, when we come to deal, and I'm just giving a simple example, when we come to deal with paragraph 45 or 43 of this original affidavit, the question then becomes, you agreed to certain aspects of it, and now you are now refusing to certain aspects. Hence the concern, Chairperson, was that we try and we make the exercise simple for the Commission, not only for the credibility and making sure that the proper information before this Commission is exactly that which Ms. Gigaba intends to produce.
It's fine the way it is. What has been said is, she has said that some of the things that are here, she knows, but others have been put in a certain way. She did say, Mr. Gigaba did say he was assisting, I think, the Guptas about the citizenship. But as far as I'm concerned, the arrangement is a supplementary affidavit will be obtained where under the Gupta's applications for South African citizenship, she can put her evidence the way she wants to put in terms of what she knows, in terms of what she was told by Mr. Gigaba. Then we will have that. What happens after that will depend on what emerges, because if her supplementary affidavit says what's wrong is that 2015 and 44, and then the way this thing is put has lost the essence of what I told whoever was drafted the affidavit. This is what I said. It's fine, but I don't think there is any other way of doing it, because this is an affidavit which she signed.
Chairperson, as I had already submitted before, we raised concerns. And Chairperson, one of the reasons why she feels it is critical that she explains the circumstances under which she signed this affidavit is so that this affidavit does not get placed on her, because she is specifically saying the contents of this affidavit contain information that is not mine.
Yes, I've heard that. It's enough. I know I know all the points you have made. I've not forgotten them. We are going to proceed, but we'll proceed on the basis that, one, as far as these paragraphs are concerned, a supplementary affidavit will be provided in which she will put her knowledge or her evidence the way she wants to put it. If in subsequent paragraphs there is another paragraph where she has a similar discomfort, we'll talk about that and probably do the same thing. But let's make progress. It's late in the night. We all want to finish. Okay?
As the chair, please.
All right.
Also, can I say something on that?
Yeah.
When it comes to the signing of the affidavit, because I remember on our last consultation, one of the evidence leaders was saying, but you sign it. So when it came to this, me signing it, it was a day, because during those days, when we were about to wrap up this, there were a lot of threats, people threatening me about coming here, and I was receiving a lot of calls. My life, I felt like my life was so threatened. So it was more of the security concern. So on that day, we were signing this. So at that day, we received the news that there was someone, they tried to kill someone or something. So when Paul gave the affidavit to my senior counsel, so then he was like, we only have 10 minutes, we need to sign it quickly. I don't want it on me because these people, what if these people, because we were so scared to have the affidavit within us, because the media was calling me, wanted the affidavit. Certain people, they wanted the affidavit from me, and I didn't have it. So when I was answering people, telling them, especially the media, to say, I don't have the affidavit, and I was not lying. I didn't have my affidavit with me. And that's what we proposed with the evidence leader, that I don't want to have it, because I felt like having this affidavit will put my life more in danger, because a lot of people wanted my affidavit, and my life was so under threat during the time. So when on the day we were signing it, we were only given certain few minutes. So we signed it quickly, and then the senior counsel went to drop it off to the evidence leader. But it was the nature of both of us who were so scared of our lives. Myself, I was scared of my life, and I raised that, and we were discussing the security, the threat, how I'm going to be protected, which I was not protected by the commission, and it promised to protect me. So every time when now they are saying I signed it, I didn't sign it in my comfort. No. I signed it under pressure. We didn't go through it because of there was that on the day.
Don't worry about that for now.
Okay.
In your supplementary affidavit, you can explain the circumstances under which you signed it, because when you prepare your supplementary affidavit, when it is looked at, it may well be that in substance you will not be deviating much from what you have said, but one can only make that judgment call when one compares the two. But when you do your supplementary affidavit, you can just explain that these are the circumstances under which you signed this first one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's continue.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Gigaba, there's another heading then Malusi Gigaba's transfer from the Department of Home Affairs to the Department of Finance. Do you remember that he moved from Home Affairs to the Department of Finance? Remember
Yes.
that? And how did you come to learn about that?
Because he told me that he received a call.
And can you remember where you were at the time when he told you?
We're in Cape Town.
And were you at a function or something?
Yes.
And what happened? When did he receive a telephone call?
Yes.
And after you received the call, what did he say to you?
He told me that he received a call.
Please speak closer to the mic.
So he told me about his appointment as the Minister of Finance.
Was he happy about that?
He was not.
Why?
What he mentioned is that he knows that it was not the president's wish for him to be a Minister of Finance.
Sorry?
He said he knew that it was not the president's wish for him to be a Minister of Finance.
He's not the person the president wished to be
Yes.
the Minister of Finance.
Yes.
Did he tell you who the president wanted to be the Minister of Finance?
He said he wanted to be Brian Molefe.
Now, after Mr. Gigaba moved to the Department of Finance, did he continue to go to the Gupta residence? Did you continue to go to the Gupta residence?
Can you please repeat the question?
After Mr. Gigaba moved and became the Minister of Finance, did he carry on going to the Gupta residence?
After, when he was at Finance,
So what we're dealing with here is Mr. Gigaba transfers from the Department of Home Affairs to the Department of Finance. So he becomes the Minister of Finance.
oh, okay.
When he was the Minister of Finance, did he carry on going to the Gupta residence?
Their relationship was not good by that time.
So let's then deal with the next heading, gifts, cash and benefits received from the Guptas. Now you've already told us about the gold necklace that he gave to your eldest son, correct?
Yes.
Deal with other gifts. There's a heading that says the white 3 Series BMW motor vehicle, the BMW. You tell us about that?
They gave him that car as a gift.
Sorry?
They gave him that car as a gift.
Who's they?
Gupta's AJ.
And when you say they gave it to him, how do you know that?
Those who went to collect it
Whereabouts did you collect it?
at Sahara.
Sahara Computers.
Yes.
And did you drive this car, this BMW?
Yes, I did.
Was it your private vehicle for a while?
Yes.
Was it a BMW?
Yes.
Okay. And what color? Do you recall? Do
Say
you
that
recall
again?
what color?
It was white.
It was white.
And was it transferred into your name?
Yes.
And then what happened to the car?
I'm sorry, did you say, was this a new car as far as you know?
Yes. But I'm not sure it was new or it was a second hand, but it was new.
But it looked new. Did you say it was transferred into your name
Yes, at a later stage.
at some stage?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Malbeck.
Thank you. And then what happened to this car?
He gave it to we took it to his friend to fix the lights, that it never came back.
All right, and then you deal with cash and benefits.
I'm sorry, before that, Mr. Malbeck. How did it come to be registered in your name? Was this a gift for Mr. Gigaba? Was it a gift for you?
It was his, but during the time I'm the one who was using the car.
You were?
I'm the one who was using the car.
Okay. But when it was given to him, was it given as a gift or was it loaned to him to use as he
It was
may
a gift
wish?
to him.
Hmm?
It was a gift to him.
It was a gift to him.
Yes.
But
gave
he
it to
allowed
me.
you, then he gave it to you.
Yes.
And you got it registered in your name.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Mr. Maipek?
Thank you.
Or you say you took it to somebody to fix the lights,
Yes.
and then what happened about it? It never came back?
Yeah.
Did you take it there, or Mr. Gigaba took it there, or
I
somebody
took
else?
it there.
Why didn't you go back to fetch it?
I kept on asking about it until I decided to buy myself a car. Because it
Who
didn't
were
come
you
back.
asking? The person to whom you had taken it, or Mr. Gigaba?
Both.
Both.
Yes.
Okay, and
It's his friend.
or the person to whom you took the car was his friend,
Yes.
and that person was somebody who fixes cars.
Yes, he said he will take it somewhere so that they can fix the light for me.
Yeah. So it was nothing serious. It was just the lights.
Yes.
And when you asked for it back, what did that person say to you about it?
So he kept on telling me that it's going to come back. So at a certain stage, I went to buy a car for myself.
You bought your own car.
Yes.
And Mr. Gigaba, did he tell you anything about the car, about why it was not coming back?
I stopped asking about it, so I decided to buy a car for myself.
Yes. And you can't remember the year when this car was given to Mr. Gigaba as a gift?
I don't want to say exactly the year, but I can check.
But do you remember which position he was holding at the time? What ministry he was
I don't
in?
remember the position, but it was, I think, around 2015 there.
Around 2015.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. But I can check because at a certain point the car was under my name.
Okay, all right. Mr. Maipek?
Thank you, Chairperson. Let's deal with wedding gifts of cash. So we know that you married Mr. Gigaba on the 30th of August 2014. Who did your wedding planning?
It's me.
And who did you invite to your wedding? Did you invite the president? Did you invite the Guptas?
We invited a lot of people. But I didn't have an access to invite Guptas or president.
I beg your pardon?
I didn't have an access to invite president or Guptas. So Malusi was inviting his friends, I was inviting my friends. He was inviting his family, I was inviting my family.
So where it says we invited both the former president and the Guptas, but none of them attended, is that wrong?
Yes, they didn't attend.
Yes, but is it wrong where it says we invited both the former president and the Guptas?
Yes, they were invited, but they didn't come.
Okay. Mr. Malefe was invited and he did attend, is that correct?
Yes, he did attend.
Now, did you get any wedding gift of any sort from the Guptas?
Not me, but Malusi said he did. But
And what did he tell you about that?
because there's a certain time they told him, because we knew about the Guptas prior to the wedding that they were not coming. Only President Noma will know, I think 2 days before the wedding that they were not coming. So they gave him, so he said they will give him money as the gift, as the compensation of their sent in the wedding.
And who paid for your honeymoon?
Say that again.
Who paid for your honeymoon?
AJ did.
You know how much money Mr. Gigaba was given?
No, I don't know.
How do you know that it was Mr. AJ Gupta who paid for your honeymoon?
Because he tells me when someone pays.
Who told you?
Malusi told me.
So he told you that Ajay Gupta had paid for your honeymoon?
Yes.
Okay.
So the paragraph reads, Mr. Gigaba informed me that as a wedding gift, the Guptas gave him a cash donation towards the cost of the wedding, in addition to paying for the cost of a honeymoon in Dubai. I do not know how much money the Guptas in fact gave. Is that correct?
I don't know.
But that paragraph, is it right?
Yes.
Now, how long did you go on honeymoon for?
I think we're there for a week.
Okay. And in what hotel did you stay?
I think it was the hotel called Waldorf.
The Waldorf
Yes.
in Dubai.
Yes. But I have to check properly exactly the name, but it's similar, something like that.
Now you go on to estimate how much your wedding cost. How much was that?
It was 4 million to 5 million.
And who paid the wedding expenses?
It's me.
And how did you pay them?
I always pay them cash.
And where did you receive this cash from?
He gave me because he was busy with his work.
Sorry?
Because that time it was during elections, so he was busy with the work. So I was busy with the wedding arrangements.
So 4 million rand to 5 million rand for the cost of a wedding appears to...
It was not,
Quite
even on
high.
the consultation I raised it, it was not like he came to me with 4 million, said here's 4 million, 5 million. It was not like that.
Yes.
So my wedding was planned from 2013 because I wanted to get married on my birthday, which is in April in 2014. And then it was not approved by Parliament because the time it was during elections. Most of the government ministers were busy. So then we have to move the wedding date to Malusi's birthday. So it took like almost 2 years. So the payments were happening like that. It was not like there was a 4 million or 5 million came at once.
Yes, even if it was not a payment that was made at one time, it still sounds quite a lot. How do you know that it was about 4 to 5 million rand?
Because
that amount, is that number, is that figure?
It's the estimation, not like exactly the
Yes.
figure.
But is it an estimation that you made because you were using the money, you know the money that was available to you and you were using
No, it was not. I was using the money that was available. It was because of each and every person who was part of the wedding preparation, like the caterer, they will send me their bill, flowers, people were preparing because my wedding was in Durban. So each and every person, and my wedding happened 2 days. So it was not only for the white wedding, it was both 2 weddings because it happened in 2 days.
Yes,
So
the traditional one as
yes,
well.
I prepared 2 weddings at the same time.
Okay.
So it was like 2 caterers, one for the white wedding, one for the traditional wedding. So it was like that, this venue and that venue, this tent and that tent.
Okay.
So it was like a bits and pieces, not like today I will have $1 million. I've never had $1 million at hand. But it was more of maybe the caterer for the white wedding will send like 600,000, then they want the deposit. Then maybe I will go pay a certain amount. And this one is for the venue, the certificate. So it was more of bits and pieces through the entire whole year and a half.
Okay. And did you say you paid in cash or you paid in different ways of paying?
Yes, I paid cash.
Okay. All the expenses were paid in cash or some were paid by EFT or whatever?
The one that I remember was paid in cash.
In cash.
Yeah.
And when you say the estimate of the cost of your wedding, the estimate is 4 to 5 million rand, you think that either 4 million, 5 million was in cash at different times?
Yes.
Throughout the year?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So,
yes.
sorry, Ms. Gigaba, I've just received a request from some of the technical people who have asked again if you could just try and speak a little bit more clearly. Apparently your voice is dipping in and out. You can imagine it makes transcription difficult. So where did you not find it strange that you have been given all this cash? I mean, where did it come from, as far as you were concerned?
As I mentioned on the, unfortunately you were not there, so I didn't find it strange because Malusi has been a minister for a very long time, and also he told me that he have savings with this money market that he saved money from, and most of the expenses we don't pay for them because it's paid by the state. So most of the time his salary and my salary, we're using it to pay our staff. So to have a lot of cash, it was not something that was strange to me.
Yes, I think perhaps we're speaking at cross purposes. I'm not suggesting that you found it strange that you could afford a wedding of this value. My question is more directed at why is everything being paid in cash? As you say, Mr. Gigaba, state paid a lot of his expenses, he had a good salary, he had a money market account, but none of that explains why, just bear with me, none of that explains why one would be going around with large bundles of cash.
When you say large, you're talking about how much?
Well, to the tune ultimately of 4 to 5 million rand.
But I never said he walk around with 5 million rand at once.
It added up to that.
Yeah, adding up to that, it's a bits and pieces in a year and a half. So if you break it down, that is not that large. It can be large to you, but it was not large to him and maybe to us as a family, because of how our expenses, we spend them. Because maybe the way you are just comparing, you're comparing by maybe a certain individual who have a salary. In that salary, you have to pay for everything. So our lives are different from that. So he has his salary, I have my salary, and we hardly pay for anything in the house.
Okay, but can I perhaps ask you a question another way? I understand what you're saying, but did you think in your mind that Mr. Gigaba was going to, for example, First National Bank in Sandton City with his bodyguards and was drawing these bundles of cash to give you to pay for flowers? Is that what you think was happening?
Because most of the time, every January, he used to take the money that he saved for the whole year from his, what is this thing, market something. So,
Money market.
Yeah, his money market,
account.
because he used to pay for his school fees for his daughter cash, because he will say, I saved the money for the whole year. So he does that. So sometimes he will sit with his financial advisor about his money, then end of the year or beginning of the year, he will take out the money and then he will use his own things. So when there's extra money, so I don't know, this one was coming from where, was it from him or from, but because I found him like that. So.
What are you able to, are you saying that it was normal or usual for him to give you amounts of cash that maybe somebody else might regard as large amounts, but you didn't regard as large amounts?
Yeah, because to me, what people, they will be shocked that, oh, you have this kind of money. For me, it was normal.
Yeah. And what kind of amounts did you regard as normal in terms of cash that he would give you? Or
maybe 50,000, 100,000 for me, it was normal.
It was
but
normal
maybe to other
that.
people, it was
yes.
not.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Let's then turn to another topic under the heading Cash Collected from the Gupta Residence. You say in paragraph 53 that Mr. Gigaba had 2 close protection officers who accompanied him in the same vehicle. Is that right?
Yes.
And you knew one of them. What was his name?
I don't want to mention his name.
I wonder whether it might be good not to mention the name because I don't know, the drivers, whether one
Yes.
of them.
Point taken, DCJ.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Now, let's have a look at paragraph 54, and perhaps you can explain to us what you saw happening in relation to the collection of cash at the Gupta residence.
Can you please repeat the question?
What did you see happening about the collection of cash from the Gupta residence?
I believe I see a collection of cash at the Gupta residence.
Okay. But that's the heading.
So I can say what I said.
Yes, tell us what you saw.
So regarding on what? On the cash.
Yes.
I think you have to ask the question in a different way.
All right.
Because I don't want to give the whole thing that you don't need.
Okay, well, this is important, so let's go through it. On several occasions that we attended the Gupta residence, I personally observed Mr. Gigaba leaving the adjacent meeting room. Is that right?
Yes.
So you were sitting there, as you've explained. He was having meetings in the private meeting room. Is that right?
Yes.
And what would happen after he left the meeting room?
So sometimes you will ask his bodyguards to bring the bag.
To what?
He will ask his bodyguards to bring the bag from the car.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and would the bag then be brought?
Yes.
Would it be given to Mr. Gigaba
Yes.
by the CPO,
What is CPO?
the Close Protection Officer?
Oh, okay.
Right. And what would Mr. Gigaba then do with the bag once it was given to him?
It's not like this was happening all the time, but the time that I remember. So sometimes he would go in the room, and then when he left, he would leave with the bag, go to the room. But not like I saw the money.
And how many bags did Mr. Gigaba have?
He had 2 big ones, then 1 small one.
Now, can I just ask you, let's have a look at these annexures. I think this is another thing that we might have identified in the consultation. We're talking about leather bags here.
Yes.
Now, the annexures referred to in paragraph 54 are A and B. Is A and B the correct bag, or is it C and D the correct bag?
Yeah, just give me a second. So repeat the question.
So, which bags, what are the correct photographs? These bags that were brought to him at the Gupta residence that he would call for, are they the bags marked A and B, or are they bags that look like C and D?
Like A, like a leather bag, small sling bag.
Yes.
Then C and D, because he had 2 bags like this that
Yes.
are different.
So I think what I'm getting to, Ms. Gigaba, if you go back to paragraph 54, do you confirm that instead of reading A and B, it should actually read C and D?
It's A and B, the small bag and the big bag. But now, when you look at D, it's a brown bag. He has the brown bag.
Yes.
He also have the black bag at the similar nature. And also A and B is something similar, which he have a bag like that, but it's 1 bag, but here it's 2.
So let's just go back to paragraph 54.
Okay.
So he would call his CPO to bring him a leather bag, kept in the boot of the vehicle. The bag would be brought to him. He'd go into the private meeting room. He'd come out with the bag. The bag would be placed in the boot. Now, what bag are we talking about there? Are we talking about bags that look like A and B, or are we talking about bags that look like C and D?
The one goes in the boot, C and D.
Sorry?
C and D is the one that goes in the boot.
Yes. So if you go back to 54, at the end, that A and B should change to C and D. Is that what you're saying?
Say that again?
If you go to the end of paragraph 54,
Yes.
where it refers to annexures A and B, should correctly read C and D. It was the big bag.
The big bag, it's on C and D.
Yes.
And that's what I said, because you asked me this for a lot of times at the consultation, and I said the same thing, and I'm saying it again.
Yeah.
C and D, he has those two bags. So I don't want to say only this bag, because he has a black one.
All right.
Sometimes he will carry this. Also at D, it's a brown bag. He has this bag,
Yes.
similar nature. So sometimes he will take this bag. It goes to the boot. It goes in with it. But now A and B, it's a small bag that he always have with him.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Did you come to learn of what was contained in these bags?
Yes.
What did you come to learn was contained in them?
It was not all the time I saw what is in the bag, but once we were in Sandton, then I saw what was in the bag.
All right. So have a look at paragraph 55.1. Did you and Mr. Gigaba go to Sandton City together?
Yes.
When did you do that?
What do you mean when?
Well, when you were at the Gupta residence, were there times where you would go then to Sandton City?
Sometimes we will leave from the season, or sometimes we will just leave from home.
And what would happen when you went from the Guptas to Sandton City? What would happen at Sandton City?
And again, don't mention the name.
Yeah.
But you can talk without mentioning it.
So there was this one time, then he opened the boot, then he took out the money, and he put it on this small bag, the small one that he carries it around his shoulder.
You're making certain gestures, I think, towards your
It's
shoulder
just like I don't know
or
how
hand.
to call them.
Did he put it in did he carry it on his arm or shoulder?
He always carries bags.
Yeah, okay, all right. Continue.
Yes? So what would happen at Sandton City? Would he go shopping? Would you go shopping?
He will go to the shop, the HTK shop.
What shop?
HTK.
Okay, and what would he do there?
Then they will give him clothes or suits. Then he will ask maybe...
Please can you speak up, Ms. Gigaba?
Sorry?
Please speak up. Don't you want to lower the microphone a little bit? Perhaps that will help. All right. So you say that he would go shopping at the HTK store?
Say that again?
He would go shopping at the HTK store? Is that
Yes.
what you're saying? Would he shop at other stores?
Once in a while he will go to Fabian, but it was not often.
So if we go to paragraph 55.2, I think you've already told the chairperson that Mr. Gigaba would transfer money from one bag to the other bag. Is that right?
Yes, he did that once in Sandton.
I'm sorry. When shopping, how did he pay for whatever he was buying?
So most of the time he will give the money to one of the protectors.
One of the protectors
Yes.
to go and pay.
Yes, because when he goes to the shop, he never take the money and give it to them. So he will take the money and give it to the protector, then we'll go to the restaurant. So the protector is the one who was paying.
Would he take the money out of his wallet, maybe?
He will take it from his bag. So the other time he took it from the bigger bag, then he will put on the smaller bag. And then he will give it to the protector to pay.
Okay. Mr. Maibek?
Thank you. So at 55.2, you say, on several occasions, I also personally observed Mr. Gigaba transferring money from his brown and black leather bags into his brown leather personal carry bag. I attach a similar example of the personal carry bag obtained on an internet search, marked C&D. So, is that...
So I didn't say on several occasions, because several means many times, which I never said that.
Okay, so how many occasions?
So I saw him once in Sandton, and the other time I saw the money, it was at home, which the instance that I mentioned here somewhere.
Okay, so you saw him once transfer.
Yes.
So this personal carry bag, is that picture A and B or C and D? Have a look at the photos again. We're almost finished. So you're talking about the bag that he transferred money into.
Yes.
Is it photographs A and B or C and D?
C and D.
C and D.
Yes.
Are you
Then you
sure?
will transfer the money to a smaller one, which is A and B.
So the smaller bag was A and B.
Yes.
All right. Now, did Mr. Gigaba ever buy you anything in Sandton City?
Say that again.
Did Mr. Gigaba ever buy you anything in Sandton City whilst shopping?
Yes.
What did he buy you?
I think it was a bag.
Did he ever buy you anything else?
We never shop together, like do my shopping together. Because even with him, he never go around do shopping in Sandton. So when he used to go to that certain shop, they used to put the clothes aside for him. So what he would go to, when he gets there, he will just fit the clothes. If they fit him, he will take them. And then maybe he will send the bodyguard to pay later. Or if they don't fit, he will just leave them there. Their tailor will fix them for him. So he never goes around and do shopping.
So paragraph 55.3, apart from a Louis Vuitton handbag bought in Sandton City, which Mr. Gigaba paid in cash, he did not typically buy gifts for me with the cash collected at the Gupta residence. Is that right?
Yes. Sorry, say that again. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Repeat.
Well, 55.3, apart from a Louis Vuitton handbag bought in Sandton City, which Mr. Gigaba paid in cash, he did not typically buy gifts for me with the cash collected from the Gupta residence. Is that right?
Yes.
How many times did you see Mr.
I'm sorry. Earlier on you said you never saw, I think, him with cash at the Gupta residence?
Yes.
So when here you say you refer to cash collected at the Gupta residence, what is the basis for saying that?
I'm saying that on basis of, it was the same bag that, I nearly said, who was it?
Yeah,
so it was the same bag that the protector took.
Yeah.
Outside, when you called him,
Yeah.
he brought it in, and he took it outside. And when we got to Sandton, he went to the similar bag. Then he took money, and when he opened the boot, it was me and the bodyguards. And when he opened, so all of us were just shocked because of the cash. It was me and the bodyguards.
I'm sorry, you say when he opened,
Yes.
is that Mr. Gigaba opening the bag?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
the boot.
opening the boot.
Yeah.
Is that
The
right?
bag was in the boot.
Yeah. And you and the protectors were around.
Yes.
And did you see anything in the bag?
Yes.
What did you see?
He took out the money.
Yes.
And he put it
Was
on
there
a
a lot
smaller
of cash in the bag?
Yes.
Would you say about
No.
half the bag, or no, or you are not able? But you know it was a lot of money.
I don't want to assume.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Mr. Maybe.
Thank you, Chairperson. At 55.3, after talking about the Louis Vuitton handbag, you refer to the credit card that Mr. Gigaba had given you. What was the limit on that credit card?
I don't know what was the limit. What I know is that I mustn't use it up to a certain limit. So I don't know what was the limit because I've
Okay,
never
so
drawn.
what did he say? You
He said
could
I
use it
mustn't
up to how much?
He said I mustn't use it up to 100,000.
Beyond 100,000?
Yes. But I never use it even closer to that.
And when you were shopping overseas,
Yeah, when I go to overseas, he will give me money to buy stuff.
how much money would he give you?
Sometimes 100 or 150 because
I'm sorry.
overseas is expensive and I never stay there for, like no one just travels to overseas for one day. So I need to be able to spend money for the whole week when I'm there.
Did you say when you were traveling together overseas, he would give you
Most
money?
of the time I used to travel alone without him.
Or without him?
Yeah.
And then he would give you
Yes.
money to spend?
Yes.
Okay, and you say sometimes it would be 100,000, sometimes
Yes.
150,000.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because sometimes I will use the cash and also I will use my own card as well from work.
Yes. Okay, all right. Mr. Maid.
Thank you. Did Mr. Gigaba want you to shop in Sandton City?
No.
Why not?
Because when I'm with him or when I'm alone.
Whenever?
No, when we're together, he will never want us to do shopping. Because also he's not that kind of a person who just walks around the mall. So if we leave home, we will just go to the restaurant or he goes and fetches clothes. So he said he doesn't want to walk around and do shopping because he's a puppet servant, and also he doesn't want to walk around with cash. So when I would do that, I would do that when I'm alone, not with him.
And then at paragraph 56, you say that about a week after the Gupta wedding held at Sun City during 2013, Mr. Gigaba now visited the Gupta residence. And then you talk about what happened on your return home. Can you explain that, please?
What must I talk about?
In the paragraph, what happened once you returned home?
Paragraph 56.
56.
Oh, okay, we went to Saxon.
Right? What you deal with at 56, on our return home, the CPOs took the bag from the boot of his official vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes.
And where had those bags come from?
It was the same bags that he takes out, in and out when he's there at the Saxon.
When he's at the Gupta residence?
Yes.
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 Okay.
And what did Mr. Gigaba then do with those bags?
He will put them at his study.
And did you then go into the study?
Sometimes.
But on this particular day, did you enter the study?
Yes.
And what did you see?
I saw him packing money.
Packing money into what?
Into the safe machine.
What was your reaction when you saw that?
I was shocked
Why?
because he was just picking a lot of money from the bag.
And what did he tell you as to where he got the money from?
He said he got it from AJ.
And did he tell you what it was for?
It's me who asked him what it was for.
Yes. And what was his response?
He said it was for the elections, because the time he was the head of elections.
It was for the ANC elections.
Yes.
All right, and then Ms. Mzipo Gigaba, payment of her bad debt and employment at Sahara Computers. Now you speak about the fact that during 2013, Mr. Gigaba's father called us to a meeting at their family home. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what happened there?
I was not a part of the meeting. I only asked him when I was on the way back to Joburg.
And what did Mr. Gigaba tell you as to what had been discussed?
He said his father asked him to assist his sister to pay the credit bureau, the man that he was owing on credit bureau.
So, had she been blacklisted?
Yes.
And you say that Mr. Gigaba's father asked him to help her?
Yes.
And do you know what debt it is that she had?
So he told me that she was owing 850,000.
And what did Mr. Gigaba agree to help her?
Yes, he agreed, but I asked him like where he's gonna get that kind of money.
Yes. Sorry?
I asked him where he's gonna get that kind of money.
And
why he agreed to his dad.
What did he say in response?
He said he will go raise it he will go ask AJ and he will raise it for his sister.
Okay, so he said he would ask AJ.
Yes.
Did he ever then tell you whether or not AJ had agreed?
Say that again.
Did he tell you whether AJ had agreed to give the money?
Yeah, a few weeks later he told me that, but they will give him half, not all of it at once.
And was any arrangement made as to who would collect the money?
Yes.
What was that arrangement?
He said to me, he spoke to Siabonga Matangu, then he will assist his sister to clear her name on credit bureau, and he will go collect the money from AJ.
So Mr. Matlangu was to collect the money from AJ and assist in clearing her name?
Yes, because they said it was a bit of process to clear her name.
Now, Nzipo Gigaba, you've already told the chairperson that for a time she worked at Sahara Computers.
Yes, she worked there.
All right, and then we deal with cash for renovations to Mr. Gigaba's home on the family plot. So whereabouts is this in KwaZulu-Natal?
It's in Mandeni.
Mandeni. And what happened?
Where are you? On 61.
Paragraph 60.
Okay. What is the question?
Well, was there building undertaken on the plot?
It was a renovations and extension of the house.
All right. And can you remember when this happened? What position did Mr. Gigaba hold whilst these renovations were undertaken?
He was at DPE at the time.
And who did the building work?
It was his brother-in-law.
And who paid for this?
It's him.
Sorry?
Malusi did.
Okay. And where did Mr. Gigaba get the money from? Did you come to learn of that?
So most of the time he will pay them cash, and there was a certain time he said he will go take the money from AJ and then he will fly to KZN. So that time he flew there alone.
So paragraph 61 says, I learned that Mr. AJ Gupta funded the building renovation when one day Mr. Gigaba told me that he was going to get the money from AJ Gupta to pay the builder. He later called the same day to tell me that he was flying to KwaZulu-Natal immediately to pay the builder. I do not know the cost of the building renovations, etc. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you ever present when Mr. Gigaba paid the builder in cash?
Sometimes.
Can you remember how many times?
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
All right. Now, at paragraph 63, it says, despite assurances that Mr. Gigaba gave me, I do not know if he officially declared any gifts, cash or benefits to the ANC and to the relevant government authorities. Is that correct?
Yes.
Then we get to the next heading. We've now only got 2 pages to go. The Gupta money counter. Can you explain to us about this Gupta money counter?
I know that you like that part, although it's not you, but other people from the commission, they like the part. So it was not every time I would say that. I saw it once. It was a function, and those are the second function that I attended, because the first one was dual and this one was this. And then we're taking a tour around the house, and all of a sudden we saw this cash counter, but I thought it was an ATM because I've never seen a cash counter before.
Right. And what happened when you saw it?
Then AJ was demonstrating how it works.
And how did it work?
So you just press, I don't know how the money was put in because I didn't see when the money was put in, but you just press maybe the amount of money, then it takes the money out. So that's the only thing I saw.
And how much money came out?
It was a lot of money, but maybe 10,000, but not like a lot of money in terms of like 100,000 or something, because it was just demonstrating.
All right. So, 64, you say, in one of the visits to the Gupta residence when Mr. Gigaba was still Minister of DPE, we attended a function at the Gupta residence. AJ Gupta took us on a tour of one of the newly renovated houses in the Gupta compound. Is that correct?
Yes.
We were part of a small group of people who were unknown to me. He showed us a room that had been converted into a small cinema, and in another area I saw a sauna. Is that right?
Yes.
Paragraph 65, as you've already said, in one area I saw a device which looked like a small version of an automated teller machine, an ATM. Mr. AJ Gupta demonstrated how it operated by punching an amount on the keyboard of the machine, which was 10,000 if I recall correctly, and it dispensed the cash notes in denominations of 100 and 200 rand.
Yes.
Then you deal with the confiscation of my devices to destroy possible evidence. You say that in February of 2020, you asked Mr. Gigaba for a divorce. Is that right?
Yes.
You say you don't want to go into any detail, but you wish to bring the following to the attention of the Commission. What did Mr. Gigaba ask you to do?
So he told me I must give him time because he was because at the time he was busy doing his affidavit to come to the Commission, and also he was busy with his PhD. So he said I must give him time because right now he's not in a state of doing the divorce and the Commission and his PhD at the same time.
So 61 says Mr. Gigaba asked me to delay the divorce proceedings until after he appears before the Commission. Is that right?
Yes.
Then you say that around June of 2020, Mr. Gigaba asked you for your electronic devices. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in what circumstances did he ask you for them? How did that happen?
He came to my room, he asked me to give him my phones and my laptop. Then I asked him why.
Okay.
And what did he say in response?
He said there was someone at home who was an IT expert who was at home to assist us to delete some information. So I asked him why our information must be deleted. I think on the day he didn't explain a lot of things why. And then there was a second time the person came, then he asked for my information, and then I refused to give him my gadgets. So then he sat down, he explained to me that the reason he wants my gadgets, he wants to delete some information because he's about to wrap up his evidence to go to the commission. The problem why he wants my devices. So then he made an example about when during Chulima Tanzala time, when there was an investigation about Brian Malefe. So when Brian said he was at the Guptas, I don't know, he said once or two times, and then the investigation showed that he was there so many times. So he used that example to me. He said he's about to wrap up his testimony, his evidence, but now he already said he went to the Guptas 2 or 3 times, but now he's worried about my phone in case someone does the investigation, then they will see that we were there more than so many times. So I said to him, why don't you go to the commission and tell the truth that we were there so many times? So he said he doesn't want. Then I refused to give him my gadget.
And were there photographs of trips that he was also interested in?
Yes.
Okay. Photographs of what trips?
On different trips that we took together and trips that I took by myself and the trips that we took with the state visits.
Okay. And then paragraph 66.3. You want to read that?
Say that again.
Paragraph 66.3. Do you want to read that?
I'm so tired. Can you please read?
Okay. Tell me if it's right or wrong. We have 1 page left. We'll see whether you fall asleep before I fall down.
Actually, that's the last page.
That's the last page. Thank you. I think everyone's keeping a tally. Mr. Gigaba also asked Mr. Gigaba also asked me not to speak to the Commission nor law enforcement agencies about Gupta visits, the cash and the gifts. Is that right?
Yes.
Then you talk about a domestic incident that occurred. What happened there?
This one, I don't want to talk about it because it involves my kids, the domestic incident that happened. So for the sake of my kids, I don't want to talk about it. But something happened on 18th of June. Okay.
But we know that that domestic incident then gave rise to a High Court judgment, which has been referred to in the press, and there's the citation given. Is that correct?
Say that again.
It gave rise to a High Court judgment in your favour.
Okay, I don't understand the question.
Okay. He's saying, is it correct that as a result of that incident that you don't want to talk about, of the 18th June 2020, there were court proceedings and a judgment that was handed down in your favor?
No, that was another incident.
That's another incident.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. Mr. Maybeg, the answer is that was another incident.
Yes.
The one that resulted in a judgment is another incident.
All right. Well, do I understand correctly? I'm terribly sorry, but do I understand that you don't wish to speak to this paragraph?
Yeah, for the sake of my kids.
All right. And then the last thing deals with the loss of your personal passports. You want to just deal with that quickly? What happened to your passports?
So last month, when we were doing our consultation with the commission team, then because I wanted to be specific about dates because I don't know the trips that we took when they happened. And also, I don't remember the personal trips and the state trips because I had 2 passports. So my entire staying with him, we're not allowed to keep our diplomat passport. So each and every trip when we go overseas, the PA takes it and the department keeps it for us. So we're only allowed to keep our personal passport. So what happened, because the commission were asking me about certain trips, and I didn't want to give dates from the head. I wanted to be specific based on how those trips happened. So what happened on the day in the evening, I called his former PA. Then I asked her, do you have our traveling history, or do you know what is the process of me getting my passport from the department? Then she said she has the whole history and she will call me in 5 minutes. And that time I was driving from Sentin. Then when I was about to get to Pretoria, then I called her that I'm still waiting. Then she said, but I just felt her tone changed. Because when I called her in the first place, she was like, oh no, I have everything. I will go through the system now, I will send you everything, and I can get you, I don't remember who said she was who will get my passport, because I don't know who keeps it. And she said, I will get your passport right now. So then now, 25 minutes later, when I called her, then she answered the phone, she was like, then her tone already changed. She was like, oh no, I don't have the records, I can't give you the passport. She doesn't know how I'm gonna get my passport. But now she's the one who used to keep all my stuff. But when I called before, she said she has everything and she knows how I'm gonna get it. And then when I got home, let me just go on the personal one, because I made the copies in the morning on the day. Then I forgot them when I was going to the commission. So I wanted to balance which the trips that I took with the state, which are the trips that I took as personal trips, and I wanted to put all of them. So I made copies in the morning and I put them in my passport. I went to the commission. So when I came back home, after calling, because I was talking to the PA, so I was like, I will call in the morning to check how do I get, because now she was just totally blank. So when I got home, my passport was not there, the copies were not there. So where I keep my passport is closer to my bed. So it's my passport and my kids' passport. I keep them, all of them at the same place. So when I opened there, I only found the cover of my passport, the pouch. Then my passport was not there and my kids' passport was not there as well. And then I was shocked because they were there in the morning. And I called someone else who worked at Home Affairs, but he doesn't work there anymore, who was an official. Then I asked him, how do I get passport and the records? So then he told me the process, which he gave me an email of someone, how do I get my trips from the immigration, which I did. I wrote an email because that's how he told me how to do, and I did that. But in the morning, so the same day, I sent the message to the commission. Then I was like, I got home and my passport is not here. And in the morning, I made the copies. And also I sent them the picture of the pouch. And then I said, I don't have my passport anymore. Can you please assist me to get the trips because now I didn't even know how do I get them. So then in the morning, I sent an email to the department. So they wanted, there's a lot of process for me to get for security reason, but they said they would give me all the records from the immigration. So then after that, I went to him. Then I said, Malusi, where's my passport? Because it was here yesterday. And I've been keeping my passport my whole life. So where's my passport? So he said, your passport? They didn't see it. I was like, okay, where are the kids' passport? He said, I didn't see them. Then I was like, that's very strange because passports were here and I always keep them. So, but I'm not saying I'm saying a conclusion, but what I think it happened, I think when I called the PA called him, he told them. And that's why my passport was stolen. So I only applied 2 weeks ago for a new one, so I haven't even go there to collect it. So where I'm standing right now, I don't have my passport. And the one that, the diplomat passport, I haven't received the records, but the department said they can give me the home trips. But I need to write a letter because there's a portion where they said I need to write a letter why they need to give me the trips, because I said to them, can they send them from 2009 to 2018? So I think anytime if I want to get them, I will get them. So that's how my passport got lost.
So, Chairperson, we have no further questions for the witness. I would like, if I may, I know it's late, but to address you for the record on certain aspects of Ms. Gigaba's letter. I don't want to become a witness in these proceedings, and I don't want to be seen to be cross-examining Ms. Gigaba about these issues. Obviously, this is something that we as the legal team take seriously, and we are sympathetic to her plight, but there are some things that we need to correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first point, which is overarching and important, and something that Ms. Gigaba has already accepted, is that throughout the production of her affidavit, she was represented by a preeminent senior counsel. And that senior counsel was, in fact, responsible for procuring her signature of the final version of the affidavit. In paragraph 8 of Ms. Gigaba's letter from her attorneys, she lists a number of concerns, as she's more than entitled to do. Paragraph 8.1 and 8.2 relate to the change in evidence leaders, which you, Chairperson, have already addressed. Then, in paragraph 8.3, Ms. Gigaba refers to the fact that the affidavit contains certain things that are not within her personal knowledge. And that seems to be correct, and a process has been put in place to resolve that. At paragraph 8.4, she mentions that during the consultation that I had with her on the 8th of April, mention was made of why these errors had not been picked up before. And she's also correct when she says that I proposed that that could be clarified in a supplementary affidavit. So we went through this affidavit, we noted certain errors, and remember, we were preparing Ms. Gigaba for evidence. We hadn't, as the evidence leaders, finalized this affidavit, procured the signature of it. That had been done by her senior counsel. So after this meeting, I made contact with her senior counsel, and I simply said to him, you may want to consider dealing with these issues. So it was a situation where we realized there were errors, and we put in place a mechanism to try and clarify them. And in fact, at 8.4, the letter reads, as suggested by Advocate Myburg and agreed to our client, these aspects could be clarified in a supplementary affidavit. We had hoped that that supplementary affidavit would have been produced by now. I have seen a draft copy of the affidavit prepared by Ms. Gigaba's former counsel. Then we get to the issue of security concerns. And it's stated at paragraph 8.5, serious security concerns pertaining to our client's safety have been brought to the attention of the Commission, and an undertaking was made that the Commission would look into this aspect. Our client has not heard from the Commission in this regard, nor has she been offered any form of security or the courtesy of an explanation for the failure to do so. So here I'm afraid that this is the one part where the versions of the two parties are irreconcilable. Sakili Maseku has provided me with a flow chart of occasions where he has met and evidence leaders have met with Ms. Gigaba. And as I understand it, and I'm new to this, but as I understand it, security measures were put in place right from the beginning. But it came with a condition, and that is that Ms. Gigaba had to trigger the process. She had to say, I want to take up your offer. And as soon as she said that, then those measures would be triggered. And repeatedly she was reminded that she needed to take up the offer before the measures could be triggered, and she didn't do so. So that's what I'm instructed.
That's not true at all. It's not true at all.
All right, well.
Yeah, it's not true. I can say what happened.
Hang on, Ms. Gigaba. Let Mr. Mabek finish. Make a note of what you want to say.
Apologies, Chairperson.
Yeah.
I think it would be proper maybe if I do interject and clarify.
Sorry?
I think it would be important that we do clarify because we have consulted with Ms. Gigaba.
No, wait until Mr. Mabek has finished. I'll give you a chance to clarify.
Thank you, Chairperson.
So, just so that I make sure that what I'm saying accords exactly with what I'm instructed. And if necessary, Chairperson, we can put up an affidavit to deal with this. We don't want to get in a big debate about this issue because obviously we have an interest in ensuring the safety and security of Ms. Gigaba insofar as we can. But, for example, Mr. Maseku instructs me that on the 20th and the 21st of January, Ms. Mangoma consulted with State Capture for 2 days. On both days, Ms. Mangoma was offered security if she feels that her life is in danger. Ms. Mangoma indicated that she's not scared and will continue with her affidavit. Then on the 8th of February, Ms. Mangoma alerted the State Capture Commission on threatening calls she had received and shared screenshots of some of these. Calls are from a no-number caller. On the 8th of February, investigators alerted the State Capture Head of Security about the above. On the 28th of February, investigator returned Ms. Mangoma's call. Ms. Mangoma indicated that she had received additional threatening calls with no-name caller. Ms. Mangoma shared these with the investigator. On the 1st of March, investigator met with the State Capture Commission Head of Security and also shared screenshots of threatening calls. Security options were discussed with the investigator, which were later shared with Ms. Mangoma. She indicated that she was okay for now, will advise once she has decided to take up the security option. On the 4th of March, Ms. Mangoma called the investigator regarding additional threatening calls, screenshots shared. 10 March, Ms. Mangoma called the investigator. She advised that she felt unsafe. Investigator alerted her that State Capture Commission is awaiting her to advise when she is ready to take up the security option. She indicated that she will move and stay somewhere. 20 March, State Capture Commission consulted with Ms. Mangoma and her legal advisors. At the end of the consultation, Ms. Mangoma advised that she still need to advise the State Capture Commission when she's ready to take up the security offer. She indicated that she will get back to the State Capture Commission. 8 April, State Capture Commission consulted with Ms. Mangoma. Ms. Mangoma informed that she still needed to advise the State Capture Commission once she had decided to take up the security option. Now, there may be different ways of viewing this, but what you can see on these instructions is that Investigations were undertaken. A system was put in place that needed to be triggered. So that's from what I'm instructed. Then the next complaint is the client's first affidavit was leaked to the media. And the Commission undertook to investigate the source of the leak and revert to her. That investigation is at, I'm told, a very advanced stage. Not quite as simple as it might appear, but action is being taken. Then the next concern, and I'm not saying they're unfounded or without merit, but on each of these things you will see that there's been an attempt, there's been interaction, there's been work done by the Commission. 8.7, the complaint is our client also highlighted to the Commission her discomfort about the Commission sharing of her affidavit with AJ Gupta without informing her or her legal team. Now, I'm told that that's wrong, that there was in fact a discussion, and Ms. September will correct me if I've got this wrong because I'm told this evening. There was in fact a discussion between Mr. Nkatobi and Mr. Pretorius about the fact that a 3-3 had to be issued in relation to AJ Gupta because he was is so central to this affidavit. And the 3-3 was then issued in that context. So it was done in consultation with her legal team.
That's not true.
Well, hang on, Ms. Gigaba. I'll give you a chance after Mr.
And then
I'll give one of you a chance, not both of you.
It's
you
that,
for your counsel.
It's that stick that's got to be handed around.
Yeah.
And then, at 8.8, the Commission has wrongly suggested that our client volunteered to come to the Commission when the correct version is that she was approached. We accept entirely that she was approached by Sakile Maseku after ENCA interview. So, Chairperson, that's the position from our side. It's not something that we want to enter into any sort of acrimonious discussion or debate with, but obviously we accept that Ms. Gigaba and her counsel may very well have a different view. That we must respect, and then we must find out a way to get to the bottom of things with your direction and advice.
Yes. I'll allow one of you and not both of you. So,
Chairperson, I think it's only fair that Ms.
Gigaba... You should be the one because you are here, and she has brought you here so that you can speak on her behalf.
No, I was saying I think it's only fair that she expresses herself,
Chairperson. Oh, you prefer
Chairperson.
that she... Okay.
Indeed.
Okay. Ms. Gigaba, do you want to say anything in response?
About the changing of the leaders, if you took that decision. Yeah. So when Paul Pretorius was leading this whole consultation, we took like 3 to 4 hours in a day preparing. And we got comfortable with him leading it. Then he knows, and he promised that he will be the one who will be leading the evidence. Then only 2 weeks ago, then Mr. Anthony came. And most of the things he was not aware, okay, there's errors here, there was errors there, because the team was aware of the errors. And he was not aware because he was new to the team. I only saw him once. And I was so uncomfortable to come that he must come and lead my evidence because I didn't prepare with him the entire preparation. He was not there. It was someone else. So, and also my senior counsel didn't even know as well when he was changed. So both of us were shocked because he promised us that he was the one who would lead. So why the change and why we were not told? That was one concern. So when it comes to the security, every time I will tell Sakile, here's this. And there was at one point when Sakile was showing the threats, what was happening, even himself, he was what? He said to me, this is so scary, this is getting out of hand. He's a man, he was even scared himself. What about me as a woman? And then he said to me, I will talk to the head of the security, I will come back, we need to do something. And on that day, he didn't come back. And then when we're having our second consultation, then those issues were raised by my senior counsel. And in the meeting, all of us were so cool because they said no. They explained how the security works. And then I have to choose to be taken in a place of safety or I will be given a security. But they said each and every meeting, so-and-so will contact you. So no one has ever contacted me after the meeting. The last consultation where the threats were so bad, and then they said, he said, the head of the security says, show us the proof. Then I took all the proof, I showed it to them. And then what happened, so the head of the security came to the meeting. So they said, we heard your concerns, here's the head of the security, he will take off your concerns because we can see, and I think they were taking it seriously, all these threats. Then they said the head of the security will contact you after this. So I don't even have the number of the head of the security. And he explained also how the security will work. So every time they will say that in the meeting, but no one has ever contacted me. So no one told me that I have to call them because I called them to say, there's this now, there's this, I think this is getting out of hand. Now I'm scared, there's this. And then they will say, okay, we'll go to this, someone will contact me. So no one has ever called me to say, okay, here's the security. So I don't understand where it was my fault because I told them they were supposed to call me to say, here's the security. The last meeting, we were with them. The head of the security was there. They said, this is his name, he will contact you. He didn't contact me. And then I thought, just because my life was because I was receiving those threats on a daily basis, a lot of calls, closer to hundreds. I've never seen such a thing. But there was a time where things that came a bit slow, and I told them I was honest. So I said, for this week, I didn't receive any call. But still, I'm still scared. Because in the beginning, when they offered me the security, there was nothing. All this thing came once when my affidavit was, and the media knew about it, and my Malusi have, AJ have, then that's where all these threats were a bit hectic. So in the beginning, when they offered me the security, I told them that no, I'm not scared because no one is threatening me. So I didn't want to lie and say, I need the security when I don't need it. I said, no, I'm not scared, there's nothing. But when they started coming, I told them, and they said they will contact me. So no one in the commission has ever called me to say, okay, based on the meeting, here's the security. That's where I became so uncomfortable that the commission, they want me to give evidence, and this evidence comes with a lot of threats in my life. Because everyone, when they were calling me, they were like, where's your evidence? We want to see your evidence. We want to come and collect the evidence. Don't you dare to go to the commission. My life became so miserable during the process. And I was telling them, there's not even one person in this commission who said, here, you are coming with the security, go find the security. Even the last meeting, my former senior counsel, he raised those questions. He was like, guys, what's happening with the security? They said, no, we will sort it out. After here in the meeting, they will contact Noma. So these are the measures. So they explained how the commission take the measures. But no one has contacted me. So it's not true that I was supposed to call, because I already called. So what type of call must I say? So that is the second thing. About I'm going to check that I'm not leaving anything. Yeah, I think that's it. Unless someone maybe can remind me if you remember anything. But
okay.
The security, I'm very because I even said it, that I felt like the commission didn't protect me, and I was cooperating with them. And what I don't understand, it was that day they said I didn't appear on the commission. I agreed on a Friday. On that Friday, I said everything. They said to me, when I land in Cape Town, I'll be taken somewhere to give my evidence. Then I said, I'm not going to do that. because how the commission is handling everything, I don't want, because I've done everything to cooperate with the commission. And the commission will say something and then they will never met everything that they promised me. Or when it comes to this, the leaking of my affidavit. So the commission said to me, everything is confidential. Hence, I didn't even have time to read my affidavit a lot, because we were not allowed to be, they said they can't send us electronic, my affidavit, because everything needs to be treated confidential. And they promised me that there are very few people in the commission who will have my affidavit. So my former senior counsel, he didn't know that my affidavit was shared with AJ. How it came about. So I received a call from Sunday Times. Sunday Times said to me, we have your entire affidavit. Then I was shocked. I was like, how come they have my entire affidavit when the commission said to me, my affidavit will be treated with confidential until I appeal to the commission. And then I called them, and I was very angry. I even called the former counsel. So on that day, all of us, we met in the afternoon. I raised my concern that how come you guys leaked my commission? So they said to me, no, it's not the commission who leaked it, maybe it's Malusi. Then my former counsel was like, there's no way Malusi would leak the affidavit because it implicates him. So on my way, going to the meeting, one of the commission team, he said to me, no, your affidavit was given only to two people, the entire affidavit, which is Malusi and AJ Gupta. Then I was like, I didn't know that my affidavit is given, because my senior counsel told me that my affidavit would be given to Malusi. So when we got to the meeting, he asked all of them, like how AJ Gupta he was given my affidavit without his knowledge, and he didn't know that. So no one said, he didn't know about it. And he was like, why you guys gave him my client's affidavit? Because he doesn't even cooperate with the commission. He's not even prepared to come to the commission. So why you were giving him the affidavit? And on that, for me, my question is, because we were not allowed to receive the affidavit via electronic, AJ Gupta stays in Dubai. So how did he receive it? So us, who are cooperating with the commission, then they brought it to me via, the other day, it was the USB, then after that it was copies. But now AJ Gupta have my entire, so I felt like the commission, they don't keep to their promises. So I said, because of that, I don't want to come to the commission. I don't want to give my affidavit because you say this and you say that. And I was not happy that my affidavit was given to AJ without me being told, because they told me a few days ago that they would give my affidavit to Malusi, and I asked why. Then they said, they quoted why he needs to be given act what words, and also because of his implicated, yes. Then I understood. But AJ, myself, the former counsel, we didn't know about it. And then the leak to the Sunday Times, that one I didn't take it well. Because I felt like my affidavit was supposed to be protected, especially because the entire team of the commission knew that my life was under threat. So now when my affidavit was leaked to the media, so what they did that day, we met, all of us. My former senior counsel was upset as well. Myself was like this, but they apologized. They said they would do an investigation because each and every copy of the affidavit has a mark on. So the commission will know who leaked the affidavit. And I'm still waiting for that because I haven't received that feedback who leaked the entire affidavit. So those were the concerns that made me not to appear to the commission, not just because I was disrespecting the commission or I was undermining the commission. I felt like the way everything was treated, it was not in the manner that I was promised.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'd like to correct something that I said as soon as I can.
Yes.
Having listened to Ms. Gigaba about AJ Gupta receiving her affidavit, I asked Ms. September whether I was right in relation to what I told you, that there was a discussion between Mr. Ngatobi and Mr. Pretorius about the affidavit being sent to A.J. Gupta. She tells me there was no discussion. So what I said to you was incorrect. There was a discussion about the timing of the issuing of the 3.3s. There wasn't a discussion particularly around A.J. Gupta. So Ms. Gigaba may very well be right. She tells me, of course, that who's implicated and to whom 3.3s must be issued is really a matter of law. So there wasn't a discussion expressly around A.J. Gupta. We accept that.
Okay, all right. Ms. Gigaba, it's good that you have articulated what your concerns were and are, and the legal team has dealt with those matters that they are able to deal with. I think, Mr. Maibek, it would be good that there be an affidavit that explains everything from the side of the investigators,
yes,
the legal team, in response to the concerns, and a copy thereof obviously should be made available to Ms. Gigaba's legal team. And once they have got it, it would be up to them whether they want to file an affidavit that responds to it, and then one can take it from there, just so that we know exactly, as far as possible, exactly what happened. So that's the one point. The second point I want to make is that with regard to leaks, Ms. Gigaba, you may or may not be aware, but in 2018, soon after the commission had started having hearings, we had a problem of witnesses' affidavits leaking or finding their way to the media. And we were not sure whether that was happening from within the commission or whether it was people who were served with copies in terms of the rules of the commission, that is, people who were implicated. I went on record and said that I was asking the investigation team to investigate how that had happened, because a number of people were also complaining. And there was an investigation that was done then, and I don't think it was the only one. I think later there was another one. And I had appealed to the media to please not publish information from the commission that is not authorized, that's not official. And a lot of media houses complied. But there was one or two that did not comply. And publicly I've talked about them, I've said which ones they are. I know that one of them is, I think, Sunday Independent, or Independent on Sunday. And I think at a certain stage, the Business Day also did that, did not comply. But a lot of other media houses respected the processes of the commission. But the point I want to make to you is that the investigations that in the past have been conducted have not always been able to determine exactly whether the media got the information from the commission or from somebody else. I think maybe at some stage there was an investigation that said the leak could not have come from the commission, must have come from outside. I'm not sure, but investigations have been done in the past. Some of the investigations have not been able to pin down who exactly did that. So, but Mr. Maibek has said that he has been told that the investigation in regard to this leak is at an advanced stage. And once it has been completed, the commission will need to let you know exactly what the the outcome is. So any leak of information that has not been presented to the Commission and by way of in a public hearing is most regrettable. But I just make the point that we have been talking about it. There have been investigations in the past, and whereas a number of media houses have respected our processes, there are some who have not done so. But once the investigation is completed, you will be notified what the outcome is.
Okay, can I ask something?
Yeah.
So since you've heard all my concerns, and also I think you are aware, I've been cooperating with the Commission, and I feel for you to summon me, it was a bit harsh because I just didn't not just come to the Commission. So now, in terms of the summons, where do we stand?
Well, the summon, you have complied with the summons, isn't it? You have been summoned. You have complied with summons. And the summons was issued because your legal representative informed the Commission that you had withdrawn your participation. You had decided to withdraw it, and you have confirmed that you had withdrawn it. So the issuing of the summons was fine. It was fine. You may have had certain concerns, but once we were aware that you had information that's important for the Commission, you had deposed to an affidavit, you had undertaken to come to the Commission, but you changed your mind, it was proper that a summons be issued.
But now are you aware that I not just didn't come to the Commission?
Well, I'm aware that you have certain concerns. I think at that time it was said that you did have certain concerns, but I think it was made clear even then, I think I must have said it, that even if you had concerns, you needed to come to the Commission and articulate your concerns here, rather than say, I'm not going there because of whatever concerns. If you had come here and articulated your concerns, then that would have been different. Okay. This is the longest session that we have had. It's now about 12 minutes past 11. I think we need to adjourn. And we do need to adjourn because although it's a public holiday tomorrow, some of us will be working. The Commission will be sitting tomorrow. This is for the benefit of the public. I will be hearing the evidence of Mr. Musebenzi Zwane, former Minister of Mineral Resources, tomorrow. So we will continue with evidence to try and finish our work within time. I take this opportunity to thank everybody for their cooperation, for us to have been able to sit until this time. Thank you to the staff and the technicians. Thank you to Mr. Maybeck and your team. Thank you to Ms. Gigaba. Thank you to her team for the cooperation. Thank you very much to everybody for having cooperated so that we could sit late and finish Ms. Gigaba's evidence. If her team wishes to re-examine, arrangements can be made for the re-examination to happen at another time, but then they would have to communicate that. Thank you very much. We adjourn.
And that's how we come to the end of, as the Deputy Chief Justice described, the longest session, greatly anticipated session, where Mrs. Noma Gigaba was testifying at the Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture. And greatly anticipated, people wanted to hear what she had said, particularly following that television interview. Well, she was quite revealing. A lot of things came through. The lawyers at first tried to delay or stop the testimony itself. Mr. Gigaba's lawyers arguing that it would infringe upon the rights of the children and also spousal, not being able to compel a spouse to testify against their spouse. But the judge, the commission chair, dismissed that and the proceedings continued. Her lawyer tried also to delay things a little bit, but eventually they got underway and a number of themes came through the testimony throughout. And it was about gifts received by the Gigabas over time, from the Guptas in particular. AJ Gupta seemed to be the key person that Malusi Gigaba was in touch with and had conversations with over time. And there were allegations of him going to the Gupta compound with bags and leaving with cash. And we heard testimony that she paid for her wedding using cash to the tune of 4 to 5 million rand. So that's a lot of cash to be holding at one time, although she says that it may sound like a lot to the average person, but for them it was pretty normal money. She talked about having information deleted from her computers, that Malusi Gigaba, former minister, wanted to have this information deleted because he didn't want the number of visits that he had and also some of the trips that they went on to be put on record, because he had already said that he'd only been there 2 or 3 times, and it seems that perhaps this wasn't the truth. She spoke about the Gupta wedding. She spoke about going to Waterkloof the night before the wedding itself. So, again, a number of issues which will be unpacked over time. But essentially, that there was this relationship, Malusi Gigaba, with the Guptas, and that over time, he would know in advance about people's appointments to senior positions in state-owned companies and also ministerial appointments. She talked about a BMW that was given to Malusi, which he then gave to her. It was then put into her name, and there was a problem with the car at one point. She handed it over to be fixed and never saw the car again. So a number of issues just with that car, because once registration changes hands, it could be that he needed to tell Parliament that he had received a gift of this size and this magnitude. There could be tax implications as well for receiving a gift that you don't pay for. So the number of issues that come when you start having gifts passing hands. And the lawyer, very clear to ask, was it a loan? Because a loan gets treated slightly differently, but that it was given needs to be declared in Parliament. And there are tax implications for receiving gifts as well. And so the cash issue, I think, was also the other thing. I'm not sure that Mrs. Gigaba quite understood what the the leading attorney advocate was trying to get at, that physical cash was being used this whole time. But she says that, look, the amounts that she spent were normal for her, 100,000 to 150,000 every time she went on holiday, and could be a week. But, that's what she spent, and that's what she testified. So she was a bit upset also that she was summoned when she felt that she was cooperating the whole time. Her testimony was leaked to the press. The commission, not quite sure whether it's people who receive these notices of what somebody else has said in their name, and this, of course, was received by as far afield as the Guptas in Dubai. And then she talked about her passports mysteriously disappearing from her bedside, that she left them in the morning, went to Durban, came back, and her children's passport had disappeared. And she said that she felt that it was probably Malusi Gigaba taking those passports. Cash being transferred from boots into small bags and then going shopping. was also described by her during that time. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave it.